Hello, everyone. Welcome to Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. We're going to be doing a bit of a Q&A, so keep your comments coming in or your questions coming into the comment section as we go through this. But before we kick that off, should we do a bit of a wristwatch check? Thomas, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. This was one of the watches I took to Dubai with me. It's my Isotope Scottish Watches collaboration.
Oh, very nice. Thanks, product placement.
There we go.
Oh, do we need to give you a minute, Dave?
No, I'm just I forgot to turn my camera on, so we should be good in about 1.
Yeah, so
seconds.
I took that to the Aura Sky Pool with me in Dubai, and went swimming with it, and it was a glorious occasion. Lovely,
cool.
Excellent.
Well, Dave, you ready to do a wristwatch check? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Look,
I am wearing one of the prototypes. So
right.
we just launched this. If I can center it, because my centering's not very good. This is our latest, which we believe is the world's first. This is a micro rotor flying tourbillon with an independent GMT, which I've actually consciously just been aware that it's actually not showing. So let me just do that.
Oh wow!
And then
it's been
Oh
wow!
Yeah,
there we go. So this is with a meteorite dial as well.
Oh,
beautiful!
Nice.
Wow, that's
a little
stunning.
bit different, and with a micro rotor.
I love micro rotors. Yeah.
There we go. So that's it. Yeah, that's what I've been wearing for the last few days.
Beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, it looks awesome. Todd, you're up next. What are you wearing?
I am doing my 1861 Moonwatch, last of the 1861s, and of course I always have more than one because this was Thanksgiving. We just got back from Thanksgiving, and I also finally got this sucker out and been wearing it this week as the Breitling spatiograph that I mentioned before on our chat. So it is doing its thing here. So yeah. Exciting.
Yeah, that was the watch we briefly mentioned last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, I finally. Yeah.
So I'm confused. An American Seiko Todd who's wearing an Italian football strip wearing an Omega and a Breitling. Oh, I've got jet lag, but I am well confused. There we go. There we go. Feeling back at home now. There we go.
That was the tie-in. That was the deep cut. Yeah, and then I am wearing a finish. I'm wearing this is the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 watch.
Get you.
Yeah, but look how reflective that crystal is. I thought people were joking when they said that the khaki they've got no AR coating. But I've done the whole review, and you can see me talking in the screen of the watch. It's like an Inception. Review Inception, but but overall I like it. I mean, the box is like epic that it comes in. It's like a Pelican style box. But yeah, I've got I won't show too much. I've got the review coming out. Review coming out soon. And actually, Larry over at Uncle Straps sent me 2 of his aftermarket bracelets for this as well. So I'll include that in the review. So this watch doesn't come with a bracelet, but obviously I'll show the bracelet in there. Well, while we're waiting for questions to come in, Dave and Thomas, I would love to. You were both at Dubai Watch Week, and this is we've not discussed it yet on the live stream, but we'd love to know like how you got on, what your highlights were to kick us off. Dave, you were exhibiting.
Let's Thomas kick it off, because I think, was that your first time you were there, Thomas?
It was my first time, yeah, and it was absolutely amazing. It was more than just watches for me. It was seeing Dubai, doing other things, seeing the old town, going to the spice souk. We rented a boat and went out on around the whole of Dubai coastline. We met a friend who lived there, went to his house dinner, did a lot more things than that. But the first day I arrived on the morning. We were staying in a 97-story building. We were on the 87th floor, and we had a fire alarm on the first morning. So we had to run down 87 stories to the fire alarm, and 240 sets of steps, flights of stairs, and only to find out that it was the annual firearm test.
I thought you were looking rather trim, Thomas.
Yeah, so dripping with sweat. I'd been there 3 hours, dripping with sweat, and that was the start of my Dubai week. But the watch week was phenomenal. To get to meet your watch heroes. I met Max Buser, Jean-Claude Beaver, Felix Baumgartner from her work, the Malin brothers, Bertrand and Ed Malin from Moser, all these amazing watchmakers to get to try on. Hi, Rich Jake, good to see you. Got to try on watches I would never even imagine I'd be able to try on. It was an amazing experience. There's different watches. Dennis did a live stream the other day saying, I'll watch something about watch shows. Are they I can't remember the title now, but he was basically saying, what's the point of watch shows, these watch shows, where the watches are out of reach for most people. And there's different tiers of watch shows. There's your wind up for your micro brands, there's your new British Watchmakers Day, there's your Watches of Wonders where brands launch watches, and then there's your absolutely your Saudi millionaire watch shows like Dubai Watch Week, where people showcase watches which are totally out of reach for you general layman watch collector. But it's amazing to get to actually see them. As a watch fanatic, it's amazing to actually get to see these watches and get hands on with them. It's a pleasure. It's a joy. It's part of this watch hobby and to meet people, to meet Dave and Ricky again, and got to another watch show with them, and meet Nicholas from Fears and Patrick from Christopher Ward and Jason Design Atelier launching his brand, the Flux brand. Just Armand Biard, just all these different people from different watch companies who were there to come together to showcase things, and also to meet as a social thing, a more watch community social event, for enthusiasts. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Genuinely could not have said it better. I think the only thing you missed out, Thomas, was you're not just seeing watches, you're handling watches.
Yeah.
You go to somewhere like Watches and Wonders, etc. You can look, but don't touch.
Exactly. Shop windows.
Everything's in a kind of like a little glass cabinet, and you can looky. If you're lucky in your media or your industry, maybe they let you have what do they call, touch and feel, the most dubious name known to watch circles. But Dubai Watch Week is an entirely different affair. You're in let's not debate the politics of the area and everything else that goes with that. But that show, you can go into an environment and people will literally hand you a watch that can be anything from 500 US to 7 figures US.
Yeah.
And say, have a look, put it on your wrist, tell me what you think. And there is literally nowhere else in the world that does that. And I'm glad you went first, because obviously you've never experienced it. I'm really lucky, having been more than a handful of times now, to both Dubai, which is a weird and wonderful place, both good and bad. But the show itself is it cemented itself as the number one watch show in the world.
Yeah,
Previously, it was very different to what you saw in 25. Previously, it was, I hate to use this phrase, but in Dubai terms, was more modest than you may expect of somewhere like Dubai, which is, let's be fair, lauded as one of the kind of pinnacles of luxury in this world. This year, it definitely wasn't leaning on the modest, but still managed to have a openness and an accessibility that just frankly doesn't exist anywhere else. You know, the Europeans like to think that it's accessible, and I guess I can say that as a European, but there's still a tenure of you can look, but please don't touch. Whereas there, it was like just touch it, just feel it. And there's so many aspects of, I think, what's happening there that the rest of the world could learn lessons from. You know, in my experience, and again, I'm lucky that I've been at events all over the world. The US is still very, yeah, come on in, super accessible. But once you go beyond a certain price tier, it becomes much more elitist and much more, you're not the people for us. Please don't bring your awareness into this sphere. I think New York Watch Week is a great example of it. You know, you go to wind up and it's like, don't care who you are, come in. You go over the road to watch time and suddenly the narrative changes quite aggressively, even down to, you know, dress code, which is something that I always find quite interesting about the US. You know, US very egalitarian by definition, but at the same time, absolutely not when you actually try to experience it in real life. Europe's still very much, I don't care if you're wearing trainers, but at the same time, look and don't touch. You know, look with your, touch with your eyes. Over there, in definition, as we've mentioned, you know, like, let's not get into the politics of it, but actually when it comes down to the show, there were people from all over the world, people from every creed, every gender, and it was like, if you like watches, come in, pick it up, put it on your wrist and try it. And it's weird. I guess if you roll all of it together, you could probably come out with the perfect watch show, but as far as it stands today, that show is by far and away the best example of what you can do to kind of let folk experience it. You said it well, Thomas. Oh. For all of us, there was watches there where you're like, when someone hands you a Grubel Forze handmade, Wonder handmade too, you're like, okay, I've had 50 more birthdays than you've ever made of these watches, and they'll let you just put it on your wrist. You know, you walk up to, you know, where else in the world can you find brands like Grubel Forze or Jacob & Co, regardless of what you think of the brands, what you think of their aesthetic Smith, or anything else. Yeah, Roger Smith, you know, literally you went from booth to booth to booth, and you're like, okay, so Studio Underdog had a booth 4 times the size of Roger Smith, and you're like, this and any other narrative doesn't add up. But they were all on each other's booths, they were talking to each other, and you had everyone under the world trying different things on. Absolutely exceptional from a point of view of what they were offering.
And the way you could talk to a watchmaker and he'd actually take his own personal watch off and say, try this on, you know, and you could interact and get a conversation going, and just you know, as if they're your friend, you know, and they'd be sort of like, well, try my watch on, you know, here you go, have a look at this, you know, this is what I make, you know, and feel it, try it.
Yeah, and of course, you know, let's be honest, ultimately the narrative of the brands there were make ourselves look good and ultimately hopefully sell more watches. But at the same time, it's a non-commercial show. It's not like Wind Up where you can buy watches on the stand. It's not like Watches and Wonders, which is not hiding behind any other facade other than we're here to do business. It's we're here to talk to each other. And I'm always amazed, you know, it's like the watch industry is full of, we're all friends, but at the same time, please don't mention any other brands when you're on my stand other than the brand we want to talk about. And at that booth, they were like, what are you wearing? That's cool. Can I take a picture of it? And okay, there's a contrived nature to a certain extent, but at the same time, there's many of them where they're like, actually, I like what you've got there. And, you saw folk on booths from top to bottom where they were like, oh, I want, or I have one of these, or I love that watch, or that's cool. It's a weird sphere. There's no two ways about it. Like Dubai is not the norm, for sure.
Yeah, I had a chat with John Claude Beaver very briefly, and I was just chatting with him, and he's got these $500,000 watches on display, and I was chatting with him, and as I parted with him, he just said, enjoy your watches, really enthusiastically, really, he's really happy, really buzzing person. He just says, enjoy your watches, just as an enthusiast, just sort of like nice gentleman, just sort of like, no sort of like buy my watches, no sort of like, you're wearing the wrong watch, you're wearing a rubbish watch. Just enjoy your watches, and that.
I think it also a weird narrative. The show is like for the guys on these booths, it's a 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. open to the public event,
12
5
hours.
days. And that's just when they're open, never mind when they have to get there, set up, pack up, etc. And it's hilarious because you see the human nature of them as well, because, like at certain points of the day, they're just like, get me out of here. This is just that. I can't deal with this anymore. And they would just be like, right, let's go. Because you had this weird mix of, you've got everyone from the CEOs and the COOs and the heads of marketing of the actual brands, right through into the staff that are in the Siddiqui boutiques in Dubai on the stands, and everyone is like, enthused, and everyone has their own little stories to tell and everything else, and they're there and they want to just engage with you. And it's one of the few places that you go to where you're like not disappointed by who you end up talking to. There's certain shows you go to and you're like, unless the guy or the brand rep is here, I feel like I've been let down in some way. But actually, in some ways, no matter who you met on these stands, they're engaged. And I know it sounds like, like, I think it's fair to say, Thomas, neither of us have any financial and or any other interest in making this show work. There's nothing in it. It's free to go. Yeah. Any of you in the audience, any of you on this panel, whatever, if you can get your proverbial into Dubai, you can go to the show. And you can go in whatever days you want, and you can wander about, and you can talk to whoever you want to talk to. One thing I love about it more is it's the one show in the world where talking to members of the public for the brand seems to be more important than talking to media and or industry. And that is quite unusual.
Yeah, that's really cool. Wow, that was an awesome breakdown of Dubai Watch Week. Yeah, so 2027 is the next one, is it? It's like every other year. Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's every 2 years, and I think another big aspect of it is it's the only forum I know of, certainly in the last decade, that can get more than brands appearing to go, look at what our shiny is, please buy it. You had Jean-Francois Dufour, CEO of Rolex, on a stage, being asked questions, and being asked questions by an open audience that hadn't been vetted.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I remember him sitting there and he laughed and he said, guys, I know there's people in the audience who are from the media, and you know what? We don't talk to the media, but we don't dislike you. It's just where we are. And he sat talking about who he's worked for, what he's done, and you're thinking, that's not a narrative that you'll usually get. And you've got panels with everyone from the Genta family through to Richard Benz from Studio Underdog, through to George Bamford, through to the CEOs of AP and Chopin and a whole load of others, all intermingled with each other. And when I say it's genuinely opened up to the floor, it is. And there was questions asked that these guys, if their PR departments had an option in what was asked, they wouldn't be being asked these questions. And they had no option but to answer it. It was like some public forum where a politician gets thrown to the lines, and if they don't answer, they look bad, and if they do answer, they look bad, so they better find a good way to answer the question. So it's an interesting place. You know, I mean, without we're obviously Sam on your stream. As folk know, I do the podcast with Ricky.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things for me, probably my absolute takeaway from the whole thing, was you're never quite sure who your demographic is. You know this. You don't quite know who's watching, who listens, who watches. And me and Ricky thought at one point, this show is, like, Thomas, you'll agree with this. You had a huge display area where most of the brands were pretty egalitarian. They all had booths from very small to not very big. And you could bump from X to Y to Z in a row. A couple of the brands, AP had a booth that, to be honest, made the city I live in look small. Then they had Rolex with I don't know, it's not even it wasn't even it was a display, it was a museum, it was a history of what we do. And I went and looked around that, and me and Ricky are just walking about going, oh yeah, Rolex, okay, yeah, seen it, okay, interesting. And at one point there was two ladies walking down a corridor that was a little narrow, traditionally dressed, obviously from the United Arab Emirates, and very modestly dressed, kind of walking down the hall, and I just stood to the side and just let them pass. And literally in perfect English, I just heard, "You're that guy from YouTube." And I kind of literally looked behind me to say, "Is Nico here?" And literally, she was just staring at me, and I was like, "Hello?" And she was like, "Oh, I watch you on YouTube," and I'm like, at no point ever have I gone, part of our demographic might be, a woman. Never mind a woman from the United Arab Emirates who definitely English wasn't her first language. And she was just super engaged with us. And she was like me meeting someone that I'm like, oh, I love what you do. It was so surreal. Like I'm not the biggest fan of that because I'm just like, I'm a nobody at the end of the day. But you're just like,
Brilliant.
That just doesn't happen anywhere else. There's this, like, you think that kind of location is much more reserved than others, but they weren't, not at all. Super friendly, super friendly kind of engagement.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Brilliant.
Oh well, that's great. Cool. Well, that was fascinating. We have got some questions coming through not about this, but we'll get going. So somebody's asked about. Well, somebody did a shout out for Pete McConville's channel. And I'm mentioning this because, yes, you should definitely subscribe because Pete is coming back. But also then the wrist chick asked about thoughts on the new Omega Planet Ocean. And I don't think Pete's speaking to me because I got into a bit of bit of an argument with him about the new Planet Ocean. So, well, I won't go yet. I do have like a medium strong opinion on this. But what does everybody else think? The new Planet
I would say Pete's video on the new Planet Ocean was very good. I think it takes cues from past 70s Omegas, the baby Ploprof shape of the case, the more angular shape of the case, and the fact that he said that you can get a micro brand that it doesn't need the helium escape valve anymore. You can get a micro brand that's 6,000 meters water resistant without helium escape valve. It's modernizing the look. It's not for me. I prefer the previous generation Planet Ocean. The Planet Ocean is my favorite over the SMP 300M. But it's modernizing the look, I guess. Yeah.
Let's hear from Todd. Todd, what's your take? You've been remarkably quiet for a talkative man.
Yeah. Well, just sucking in all that awesome information you had from Dubai Watch Week, for sure. What I'd say, I saw what Pete talked about. Is it really in the same family as previous Planet Oceans? I understand what he was presenting. It doesn't hit me. It hits me almost like a different watch model in a way. The example I think it reminds me of is more of a Seiko Marine Master 200 in some ways. And is that and that's fine, but I'd rather have the 200 actually if I were comparing the two. That's me, but yeah, it just doesn't hit me as being. Yeah, I'd go ahead and go the full Marine Master if I was doing the Marine Master. But I mean, yeah, that's kind of it's okay. It's not what I'm looking for in a Planet Ocean, but I'm old school on Planet Ocean.
Yeah, same here.
To be fair, Todd, the bias is already in your screen name.
It is. For some reason, it's here. I don't know why.
Do you know? I'll say this: it's not what everyone expected from that watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I would proffer that in a couple of years from now, that will go down as one of the best-selling Omega models in the range outside of Speedmaster.
Yeah,
they have addressed every single problem, or not problems the wrong word. They've addressed every single critique that folk typically threw at the old one, and I think this is a classic case of the old ones. It's got problems because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way through to Z. And then the minute they address all of them, like, oh, but the old one's nicer, and you're just like,
yeah. I mean,
spot on, Dave. Spot on.
So I
literally, you can't win for losing.
Yeah, well, I thought. I mean, the reason I got into we didn't really fall out, but I got into a heated debate with Pete is because, to me, I think that design they just like phoned it in. Like, it doesn't seem like there was really a lot of. I mean, Pete's making all these distinctions about it's from this, but what I see is a Seamaster Planet Ocean that looks like that's trying to move closer to the look of a Rolex Submariner. It's trying to become, I see it like big time. The bezel and the crown guards, which the Planet Ocean never had the crown guards. I'm seeing it as hey, you can't really get the sub, but we've got one that looks a little bit similar. And it just does nothing for me. I think the Planet Ocean was so distinctive, and to be fair, I think you see more Planet Oceans out in the wild than you ever see the Speedmasters. I mean, like what the normies buy. It just did absolutely nothing for me.
All right, I'm going to upset half of the planet's population. The Submariner is pretty much up within the top 2% of the most boring watches you can possibly buy on the planet. Literally, it's so benign as to be like, don't make me do it. You took that name off the dial and you printed any other name in it, and what would go? It's just, is it a well-engineered watch? Sure. Is it a refined product in terms of manufacture? Sure. Is it a Dali, or is it a piece of art that would hang in a world-renowned art gallery? Absolutely not. Right? I think this new Seamaster is. I would have loved to try it on the wrist, and it's extremely good. And I'm a big watch. I'm a big ugly watch fan, by sure. Like the Ultra Deeps, I'm a mega fan of it. Love it. Own some. Fantastic. Practical? Not really. It's like kind of buying a supercar that's got a 25-mile range on it. It just isn't practical, but it looks very good in the driveway. It's a kind of watch that when you buy one, you wear it for a month to justify the fact that you just spent 10 grand on a watch, and then you wear something much more day-to-day wearable. And for me, I think that new watch will be very much a day-to-day wearable watch, and many more people that buy it will actually wear them. And when you go in and you try it on, you'll not be disappointed by it. As much as Rolex, for sure, is the preeminent luxury brand name, the Omega is
in the world
every bit as good, if not better, in some ways, a watch when it comes to take the name out of it and just do a head-to-head. It's a lot cheaper than a Submariner. It's infinitely more accessible than a Submariner, as in you can walk into pretty much any boutique probably tomorrow and buy one if you want it. And I think they've hit the nail on the head with it. It's a fantastic watch. If you like a big chunky watch, you can go and buy one of the old ones because they'll be available for probably the next 3 or 4 years because there's plenty of them in the supply chain. But I think they've done a great job. Does it look a little bit like a million other watches? Yeah, but doesn't every watch ultimately? There's not so many watches that ultimately you can't see something else in it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they've hit the ball out the park in it, and I genuinely think in the next couple of years it will go down as one of the absolute on the nail dive watches if you like that whole tool watch, dive watch aesthetic.
Well, I'll take the over on that, or whatever the opposite. I think it will just fizzle out. I think the price of it, it's nearly $10,000. It's not far off the Submariner. It's not the price of it's wild. At least the Planet Ocean had that like size to it. The thing that think about the Seamaster line, for example, and same with the Speedmasters is, even though this isn't an actual what they use for now, the origins of them have always been like a purpose-built tool. Like the Ploprof, everything about it was purpose-built for diving. And each of these watches have the lineage of this. This was at one time, the romantic view of this was it was an actual tool watch. And I think that's what people like about Omega, is it's the tool watch, isn't it? Even though, so I just think that it was just, to me, it was just like, oh, okay, we'll just make it a little bit square and this. I don't see this romantic, like, oh, it takes inspiration from this. The Baby Propof is awesome. They should have remade it, if anything. To me, this is Omega moving more to the look of a like the design ethos of a Submariner, to try and capture that audience, is my view. Not to try and bring new people to Omega who are already Omega fans. It's to try and capture the Rolex people over, because they made it similar size, thickness, and stuff like that. The Planet Ocean was thick. That was its, that was its deal, wasn't it? But anyway,
I strongly disagree in that. Like, one thing, I'll give Rolex one thing. One thing they've managed to do over the last, actually a long time, is they're very wearable watches. The biggest issue I've got with the majority of the industrialized watch world is they lean way too heavily into, we've done it this way forever, therefore we'll keep doing it this way. If you look at anything else in this world, you want to make it smaller, more accurate, tighter, remove unnecessary features, and use technology to move it forward. And that's what literally this watch has done. Is it technically specified every bit as capable? Have they diminished any of its technical specifications? Can it go as deep? Yes. Is it smaller and can it still go as deep? Yes. Has it removed unnecessary points of failure? Things like helium valves? Yes. To me, it's one of the rare examples where they've actually gone, do you know what? Clean sheet it and start again. And, it's only fractionally like what came before, but it's not iterative. And that's the bit that annoys me the most about watches, is most of them are completely iterative. Let's be honest. Why does a Rolex Submariner look like a Rolex Submariner? Because they're petrified if they change it too much that they will cause themselves reputational or brand damage, so they won't change it. Is that a good thing? In my opinion, no, it's not. It's just playing to the norms of what people want. Yeah.
Well, time will tell.
For sure, time will tell. Will Omega be Rolex? No. But every time these big brands change something markedly from what they have, they get it proverbially kicked up the rear end because folk get upset. People don't like change. That's the reality. If we all decided next week, let's do Sam's podcast, but what we're going to talk about is fairy cakes. No one's going to tune in.
I've been trying to.
Will that make it any less interesting? I'm sure it'll be quite interesting. I'm sure I could deep dive into fairy cakes for the next week, and we could make a great little live stream. But it's going to annoy the whole audience, because why are you talking about fairy cakes? And for me, that's the same narrative. It doesn't. We're devalidating what they've done because some folk go, it's too different to what you did before.
Yeah, no, I actually don't think it's different enough, to be honest. I think it's too plain. I think it's too much like they kind of phoned in the design, to be honest. But anyway, we'll see.
We can agree to disagree. I'll punch you later.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's fine. Well, what was funny was Pete actually did a poll on his website to try and prove me wrong, and actually over a third of his audience did agree with me, so I'll just put that in there. Anyway, let's go to another question, which maybe we'll agree on it. Maybe not everyone's seen this one, but what do we think of the new Square G-Shock with the MIP display? Has everyone seen this yet?
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's incredible. They're basically a square G-Shock, but with a MIP display.
I am all about it.
Yeah, I've got one on the way.
Do you know, quartz watches, digital technology is the most maligned topic within the watch geek, watch enthusiast thing, because for some bizarre reason it's not as good as a mechanical watch. Let's be honest, it is actually ultimately better, and they will do things that ultimately the mechanical watch world wish they could do, but can't, because they're petrified to move too far forward. I'm all about it. I love all types of watches. G-Shock are epic in terms of what they do. You know, they are not scared to do stuff that are going to upset people. Frankly, I don't think they actually care if they upset people. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I've got one on the way. I think they're only available in they're all JDMs at the moment. So I've got one coming from, but yeah. So yeah, Todd, basically it's like a G-Shock. It's like a square G-Shock, but with that extremely detailed display. It's awesome. So Russell did a review on it. Jody did a review on it as well. So hopefully I'll get a review out next week. So.
Did any of you see G-Shock's little ring watch? You know the Casio did the little ring watch in metal.
I reviewed the G-Shock ring watch.
Did you manage to get the plastic G-Shock ones?
No, I had the metal one, the metal one. Oh, let's show us. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Let me see if I can get it to focus.
Oh yeah! Wow.
But look, it actually has a pin buckle.
Oh wow! I've never seen. Where have those come from? I've never seen those.
They released them quietly last week. They're not limited edition, and they do them in all the colors. They've got yellow, black, red, green, fully functional, backlit as well as a ring watch, and they are, I think, about $70.
That's awesome, because the problem with the metal one was that you actually couldn't replace the battery in it. You had to basically dismantle it.
Well, this one has. Let's see if I can get it to focus. It has a screw case back.
Okay. Look at that!
Wow.
And you can replace the battery on it, and it is literally.
Oh, yeah. The other one wouldn't go on my finger.
Let's be honest, completely and utterly ridiculous. But at the same time, I'm all about it. You know, like, can you imagine any mechanical watch brand having the guts and/or engineering excellence to actually do that?
Yeah.
No is the answer.
Yeah,
so, all about
it. Okay, we've got some more questions coming through. So user VV1QM5DJ9C says, are you concerned about the premiumization of the watch industry? There's a real cognitive dissonance in feeling pushed out of heritage brands into value or pre-owned just to stay in the hobby. Interesting.
There's a reason, which is how will I put this politely? I need to be careful here. When volume drops, price will increase.
Per unit, yes.
For the industrialized watch world, there's one number that counts. And if your volume drops and you push the price up, your profit margin and profit amount will stay the same. There is a break point coming. If we don't get to a point in the cycle where we start to see volume lift a little bit and prices either stabilize or come down a little bit, then we're going to have an interesting point in history. There's a few brands have actually bottled it already. JLC have actually brought their prices down, not by a lot, but they have brought their prices down because they've gone beyond the point where they've seen a market decrease in uptake of their product. But you're not wrong. Unfortunately, you know, like the average salary within the working world versus what they can buy with their free capital is changed markedly since the last 10, 15, 20 years. I think two things will happen. There's a huge amount of value to be had in the pre-owned second-hand world. And by that, it can be anything from actually pre-owned as in a year old to older than you are. And that's a pretty wide play park. You know, you can buy stuff that's so new that pre-owned is a misnomer, to be honest with you. You can buy essentially a brand new watch that someone bought. So frankly, if you can buy a watch, it's like buying a dealer registered car at a car dealership. You know, it's done 500 miles because someone sat in it once, versus buying a brand new one and you can save a chunk of cash. But for me, it opens up the avenue to, there's a huge number of brands that sit under what people are used to buying that suddenly get the exposure. And, you know, you'll never struggle to buy a watch for not a lot of money. You just need to be willing to not do that or that, but actually do that and look a little bit out your lane, and you'll find lots of cool stuff out there. It's not difficult. Thomas, you saw them over at Dubai. You know, brands like Awake, French brand.
Yeah, with lovely dials.
What's it? 2,000 euros, give or take. Are not even beautiful, artisanal dials that if it was a Swiss well-known brand doing those dials, good luck getting change out of 5 figures. A Swiss La Jouperet movement in it, a nice bespoke case, 2,000 euros.
Grand Seiko level dials,
Oh, and the rest, you know, like if that was in a Swiss branded XYZ brand watch, you'll struggle to get change out of 5 figures. There's lots of stuff out there. I think what we'll see is people becoming less aligned with that's a high street known brand, and just be willing to, and take a risk is the wrong phrase. The problem is all the high street brands are leaning into, we make so much money out of you that we can offer you a 5, a 7, an 8, a 10-year warranty. Don't kid yourselves on. That warranty is not free. That warranty is built into the margin that you're paying for that product. You might get a 2-year warranty. You might get a 3-year warranty, a 5-year warranty out of some of these smaller brands. Most stuff you buy day to day, you'll be lucky if you get a 12-month warranty. Therefore, when someone's offering you a pretty technically accomplished product and willing to back it up for 2-3 years, you're already in the plus. So just, I think, look, I don't disagree with the premise of the question, which is, yes, there's a few brands out there, a lot of brands out there taking your naivety to play here, but you don't need to fall for that narrative. There's plenty of stuff out there that you don't need to spend a huge amount of money on and get an exceptionally good product.
Yeah, there's a couple of people asking if we can share kind of the image, I think, of the Planet Ocean and the kind of the Rolex, I think, we're talking about. But this isn't my picture, but this is somebody else made this picture. But I think this is, for me, there's certain elements I could certainly see, the bracelet, the shape, the crown guards and stuff like that. So there you go. For anybody watching this and thinking, what were we talking about? This is the new Planet Ocean on the left-hand side. Oh, I mean the right-hand side.
Sam, I could probably find you within 30 minutes 100 watches that all fall into the same category. And don't for a minute think that Rolex Submariner is original in any meaningful sense. It's a round watch with a bracelet on it that happens to have a black dial and a blue bezel. They are not the instigators of that. People just believe they are on the basis of they are the dominant brand within the market. It's like Apple claiming a million things at Apple. I'm using Apple kit. Do I like Apple? Yes. Do I fall for their BS narrative? No.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. No, Johnny, I've got a lot from Braun. I think you're right. There is a million other watches that do look like that. But the point is, the previous Planet Ocean looked nothing like that. So
fair. What's the better looking of those two watches? And I know the answer I would genuinely give.
Well, I mean, personally, I think the Rolex, but
see, for me, the way I look at that Rolex, take the names off the dials. Mm-hmm. The fact that the case doesn't flow into the bracelet on the Rolex annoys me. The fact that you've got some contiguity between the case and the bracelet and the Omega is better. Which one's more legible? I would argue the Omega is more legible.
Yeah, unless you want to tell
the date. The date, don't get me wrong, I'm half blind and I've not got my glasses on, and I can even tell it's the 28th on that Rolex. But frankly, frankly, the last thing that I need to know when I'm 600 meters under the water is what date it is. I'm more concerned about I'm about to die because I've run out of oxygen.
Oh yeah, you got bigger things to worry about.
Exactly. So hey, they're both cool watches. Just buy the one you like. Like, I think we're all, and I've done it. We're all way too guilty of going, but this looks a bit derivative of this. You're like, do you like it? Yeah, buy it, or or buy something different.
And I don't get me wrong, I like Omega. Like, I think the pricing has gone absolutely nuts, to be honest. But I actually do like Omega. I mean, I always have it on my chrono. You know, the Speedmaster that's the Speedmaster that's got the date on it, like the broad arrow from a few years ago.
Yeah.
As soon as that gets a nice price, I'm buying it.
And you know, I love this narrative of but it's nearly the price. It's nearly the same price as a Submariner. Why shouldn't it be? It's every bit as technically good a product as a Submariner. Why should it not be equities in price? Just because someone somewhere decided that Rolex as a brand name has got more social credibility than Omega. It's a straw. I think that's a straw argument to me. You know, it depends where your narrative is and things. I would way rather have Omegas than have Rolexes. I'm not going to diminish Rolex's technical competence or Rolex's ability to do business well, because they're the biggest brand in the world for that reason. But as an individual, I would rather own a Omega than own a Rolex.
Yeah, I'm not saying this shouldn't be. I mean, we're going off a tangent here about the price, but I mean, I showed that image on my Instagram, didn't I? That in like 4 years, the Speedmaster Grey Side of the Moon has gone up $5,200 in 4 years, over $1,000 increase. And Rolex never goes. I mean, Rolex are expensive.
So here's my argument. It means Rolex has been ripping you off for the last 25 years.
Oh yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, but I mean, go back to the line.
You know, they've not gone up in price because they were already too expensive, but nobody noticed it until everybody else started coming up. There's a reason that businesses don't go up in price. Is they don't go up in price because they don't have to. There's not a single business in the world raises prices aggressively when they don't have to.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, so let me just see if I've missed any questions. Yeah, so obviously, this question: why are folk comparing it to the PO and not the Submariner? Sure, it's a competitor Sea Dweller. It's a competitor Sea Dweller in terms of the meter, but it's the size of a Submariner. I think it's the proportions of a Submariner, because the Sea Dweller is a lot thicker, isn't it? The Sea Dweller is probably like the ocean in thickness. So it's more aesthetics than capability, I would say. But yeah. So somebody's asking, everyone's doing collabs. When's the Casual Watch Review CW collab coming out? Do you know what? If I would make one, but you've got to, Dave, you've got to get, is it 20? You've got to order 20. You've got to have people that are, I think you've got to sell 20. Oh, more than that, 50 maybe. Yeah. Okay. So would 50 people buy Casual Watch Reviews? Christopher Ward? Maybe. Also, I could, the flipping Extreme that I've got over there, that's the watch that I would have designed, but I'm not that good at design. I think they absolutely nailed it. So it would be something along those Extreme. Let's have a look.
Have a date. We know that.
Yeah. So let's have a look. So Robert says, does the panel agree that Tag Heuer has the branding to rival Rolex someday if they get the marketing right?
No.
I don't know.
On paper, yes. In the real world, you're dealing with one problem: human beings.
Yeah.
And you're never quite sure where human beings will put value. If you could, marketing departments would cease to be, because marketing departments' entire premise in this world is to convince us humans that what they're selling is better than A, B, C, D, E, whatever. Rolex are and have been for, let's say, 20 to 30 years. They've got the brand. I say this all the time, and I've said it for many, many, many years. It seems to be getting popular now, and I'm not saying folk are listening to me because they're not. But I'll tell you one thing I've said for a long time. Rolex is a premium product and it's a luxury brand name. And I've said this for years. There is not a single company on this planet that makes more than 1 million of something that's luxury. It depends. The modern definition of luxury is not luxury. Rolex brand name, when someone sees a Rolex watch, average Joe public goes, "What's that?" It's a Rolex. They don't give a X what it is, what model it is, how much you've paid for it. They just go, "Ooh, you're successful."
Right.
You can have bought one for $50 on eBay and it says Rolex on it and it's fake. "Ooh, you're successful." Because they've got the brand name to a level that is in the upper echelons of perceived success.
Kings of marketing. Yeah.
They're
a marketing company. That's really what they are. They're a marketing company.
They're a luxury brand. You go to the most prestigious events in the world and you see the word Rolex, and it's success by association. It's everything else. Is their product bad? No. There's plenty of other examples where you could say the brand is so disproportionately more valued than the product. Rolex are, at the end of the day, an engineering company. I've had the luck to go and see these guys, and I've been in their factories and everything else. They are exceptionally good at their engineering, but they are not reinventing any wheels anywhere. They are the best equivalency I can give most folk that probably makes some degree of sense is they're Audi. They've mastered how to make an extremely good product in volume, consistently, extremely well, but the perception of the ownership of said product is so exponentially higher than the actual product that it moves it into a completely different stratosphere. But let's not beat about the bush. They're not reinventing any wheel. They are. Apple is probably the best analogy. Everyone goes every year, "Oh, well, the new iPhone's fractionally better than the last iPhone. They're not really giving us anything." Neither's Rolex. It's taken them till this year to bring out their Dynapulse escapement technology. And even it's not reinventing the wheel. It's just a very, very refined product that is based on work of 10, 15 years. There's many other brands out there that are genuinely pushing boundaries, pushing things forward, and are infinitely more luxury as a product than Rolex are, but don't have the same cachet in the real world.
Yeah.
If you value, I bought something and I can sell it for nearly the same amount as I paid for it as luxury, you're fundamentally misunderstanding what luxury is. Yeah. Luxury is not about retention of value. It's not about, I had to do unspeakable acts to get my dealer to give me one of these watches or anything else. That's not luxury. But Rolex have managed to convince, or actually we've convinced ourselves that that's what luxury is.
Yeah.
It's actually not even, it's not even Rolex doing it. We're telling ourselves that's what luxury is. The best bit is someone whispered in our ear and we went talk to talk, and we've all convinced ourselves that's luxury. It isn't. And the sooner that we all agree, Tag Heuer, quality product, they do a huge amount of innovation. And for the last 10 years, it's maybe the watch that if you're unlucky, someone will buy it for your 21st birthday. But as soon as you realise what a good watch is, you won't buy a Tag Heuer. Which is, let's be fair, that's how it was relatively viewed by a lot of watch enthusiasts. I think in the last 2 or 3 years, they've really got themselves back onto let's lift ourselves back up a way. Their technology they're doing, the new carbon technology they're using for their hairsprings, the new kind of additive processes they're using for making cases and stuff, they are playing a game at such a manufacturing level above Rolex that you can't possibly imagine. Rolex are doing nothing new. They're just mastering how to do something that they've done repetitively for decades to the nth degree.
Yeah.
Tag, love it. But will they ever be Rolex? Not in the next 20 years, they won't. But should they be? That's a very different question.
Yeah, I was in the jewelry quarter in Miami there on Friday, and actually where CRM Jewelers, if anybody watches CRM Jewelers on YouTube, that's where their store is. And it's basically an arcade, and there must be 50 pre-owned watch shops in there. And in one of the windows or one of the displays, they had the Land Dweller, and then literally the next case over, they had the oyster quartz, and those two could be 1 year apart. Like, you know,
couldn't they?
Absolutely,
they look identical. Yeah.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Yeah.
You see, it's interesting. I think there's a comment in there. Is it Chrono Tommy says there's a huge difference there that you can't use an Apple product for 10 years and be able to sell it for a great price anytime, anywhere. Yeah, actually, I'll fundamentally disagree with that. Can you buy an iPhone and after it's a year or two old, sell it for what you paid for it? No. You'll be lucky if you get a fraction of the price. Keep it for long enough. I nearly swore there. I absolutely guarantee you can absolutely sell it for a lot more than you paid for it.
Yeah,
I've done it.
Yeah, I've done it.
There full of old Apple stuff. My younger brother's kid recently sold an original iPhone for 5 times what it sold for when it was new. It depends whether you like short-termism, as in I can buy it today and sell it tomorrow for twice its worth. That's not ingrained value. That's playing into hype and playing into the gullibility of what people are willing to pay for something because the market's been so contrived that you can't easily get one, versus something selling for a high value because it's become rare. It's a very different narrative. A mechanical watch will outlast me, you, and everyone else in this panel times 10. Will an electronic device fail? Sure. But people will buy things that are rare. And rare is, for me, one of the main tenures of why something has value. If you've got the only one of whatever it is, it will be worth something to somebody. A lot more than probably it was ever worth in the first place.
Yeah, all you have to do is a search for vintage Casio, don't you? I mean, I've been trying to get a Casio TV remote control watch for ages, and they're just unaffordable. Just think, Muhammad Ali, thank you for becoming a channel member. Very much appreciated. Yeah, you're right. I've got like old Newton message pads in my parents' loft that are my retirement Newtons.
yeah. I have one as well. So good choice, my friend. Good choice. Yeah, probably the battery was dead like 6 months after it was bought and it was made. But at the same time, 3D printing is your friend these days, as I recently discovered when my battery was dead. And I had a friend who works in a totally different industry, and I gave him the battery and he went, 3D print me something. And he did it. And it's miraculously alive again.
Yeah, it's funny, and that's the thing with old Apple products, where you can just switch. Like, you could get an SE30, as long as it's been not damp or anything, switch it on, and it likely will just fire straight back up again. Apple made them rock solid. I mean, they had like a little 9-volt battery in them, didn't they, to power the clock back in the day. I'm just seeing if we got. Well, we're actually coming nearly to the end. Just seeing if there's any.
KC Watches has got one about the Ultrachron. What do you think of the launching Ultrachron Classic? You think it's the best watch they've done in years?
I love.
He loves the 37mm Embracer.
Is this the old model from like last year, or have they bought? Is there one like recent?
No, it's a silver dial. It's a round one. It's a round case. It's not the square case Ultrachron. It's a round case.
Very Omega Seamaster from 1970 in a way. To me, the way the case looks, it's
beautiful. I love it. Yeah, I really like it. It's true to the original Ultrachron, or one of the original Ultrachrons. I love it. JC watches. Yeah, I really like it myself. 5 hertz.
Let me very quickly and hopefully not too clumsily pull this up, because here we go. This one. Nope. Is it this one?
That's it looks weird with the bracelet. I was looking at it on a strap. But
here you go. There we go.
Yeah. I really like it on the strap.
So this will be. Is this isn't quartz? Is it? Or is
no? It's 5 hertz automatic high beat movement.
Yeah, because they brought out the thicker dive watch, didn't they? There was an Ultrachron, wasn't there? It was a dive watch.
It did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I quite like that.
It's a cool watch, but look up I don't even know which it was, the anniversary Omega Seamaster 1940 something.
Oh, the 1948 one, was it? No.
Yeah, pull that up and tell me if you can tell they came from the same mother.
Yeah.
The 1948 anniversary one, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It looks a bit thicker on the 1948.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, is it a cool watch? Absolutely, it's a cool watch. See, someone's saying here, I don't think David's been fair to Rolex for their new escapement. Oh, I'm honestly, I'm being very fair. Is it an amazing technical accomplishment? Yes, it absolutely is. The thing is, everyone, most folk, not everyone, that's not fair. Most folk are completely missing the one major technical achievement of that new escapement is not the escapement. It's not the geometry. It's not the math. It's not the silicon. It's one component. And that is where someone like Rolex can absolutely leverage their size and their power when it comes to industrial manufacture. And nearly everyone except most high-end technical watchmakers missed it. It's the staff is ceramic and it's made in a single pass process. That is the single biggest technical achievement of that entire escapement, because it addresses so many production issues for a component that's normally made out of metal. Silicon is a very known material, and lithography and design and process they are significantly behind the curve when it comes to what they're deploying. Not what they're doing internally, what they're deploying in commercially available product compared to what other people are doing. The axe in it out of ceramic, that's a very different narrative. Don't think for a second Rolex could move the needle forward by decades overnight if they truly wanted to, but they are not going to do, because most people in this world think that Rolex are as good as it gets. Are they the worst? No. Are they even not? Are they in the top 5? Yes. Are they giving you what they could give you? No. Neither are Apple, neither are a multitude of other companies, because they're a money-making machine. Nothing wrong with making money, but don't think for a minute. I'm not saying they are an I will tell you right now, they're an absolute technical powerhouse, but don't think what they can do is what you're getting.
Yeah.
Harsh, maybe.
Well, they said that about that Steve Jobs, didn't he? He wrote the future. Was it 10 years or something with the products he wrote before he passed away?
Yeah. And Rolex need to protect one thing above all else. Above all else. Anyone that buys a Rolex, whether they're super into watches or a first-time buyer of a product, is Rolex will not fail. It's a product that has almost bulletproof reliability, bulletproof everything about the product. And when you industrialize something and you make a lot of them, you better make sure your process is quite literally bulletproof. So they will only deploy something to market once they have spent so much time and money making sure that it's bulletproof. And all that cost ultimately ends up in why that product is the price it is. But they will only ever deploy something when it's a balance of they know that it's so bulletproof that it can't fail, and they feel it's right to be launched to the market.
Yeah.
Could they have launched what they did this year 2 or 3, 5 years ago? Yes. Did they? No. Why? Who truly knows why? But it's a combination of some of the things we've talked about and reasons only known to Rolex. But, and don't get me wrong, most brands are the same. But let's not kid ourselves on. They are not giving us stuff as state of the art.
Mm-hmm. Do you think of the big brands, do you think there is a brand that's doing that? I mean, Grand Seiko comes to mind, doesn't it? That people will probably say, well, Grand Seiko are at the bleeding edge of technology. I mean, and obviously your Haraj as well. But
do you know? Like, I'll honestly say this: like, if you say in the watch industry, who is the best at the world in volume industrialization and product stability? Rolex wins, literally almost hands down. Pretty much Seiko Group could probably give them a reasonable run for their money. Omega's up there as well. But that's a fact. But there is so many smaller brands doing things that are... The stability is not necessarily there, but they are doing much more innovative things. Whether it's artistic, whether it's technical, whether it's a multitude of other things. And that's what ultimately pushes a lot of these bigger brands forward, is because you never quite know who's coming up behind you. The 99.9% of them coming up behind you will never get anywhere near you, but you ignore them at your peril. Because one day, one of them, the phrase is, be careful, always look behind you because you're never sure who'll bite you in the ass. It's there for a reason, because it has happened, and history will prove that it has happened. But, Seiko, Grand Seiko, probably the single best innovation in near mechanical watchmaking is spring drive. Is it pure mechanical watchmaking? No. Is it genuinely a mechanically powered innovation that pretty much no one's got near? I would argue yes. It does derive from purely mechanical, but then it depends. What's timekeeping about? Is timekeeping about maintaining the history of something for the sake of maintaining the history of it, or is it about accuracy of timekeeping? I'd argue if you go back to the early days of mechanical watchmaking, when Swiss lever escapement was made and all of these things, would those guys, if they were alive today, go, we still have to make it how I made it 150 years ago? I would beg to differ on that. I think they would look at what we can do now and things like spring drive and go, at digital watches, and go, yes, we're all falling into this idealistic world of we love what we love because of how it was done. Nothing wrong with that. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
Does it make it truly better?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Thank you for the very generous super chat there, James Bond. Have you seen the new Manchester watch area nostalgia?
Can't say I have.
No. I was in. Thanks, James, for the super chat. I was in Miami, and I might have mentioned it before. And we went into Grand Seiko, and the guy said to us, because we were with my friends, and he says, "Oh, Grand Seiko is the Rolex of Japan." And I was thinking, that's interesting, because I've been to Japan and there's plenty of Rolex there. But I think that's how I think that might be his opener for people that don't understand Grand Seiko, because he probably, there's a lot. I mean, we were the only people in the store, but it was a small store. But, for people that are trying to put like a frame of reference, he said, oh, we're the Japanese Rolex. Or I think he was trying to say we're as big as Rolex in Japan, Grand Seiko, which I don't know. There was plenty of Rolex I saw in Japan, but it's interesting.
A lot of Omega there too. Absolutely.
I think it's fair to say Rolex are a cultural marker. And 100 years from now, 200 years from now, when people look back, it will be a point of reference to what we as humans did and everything else. But we are all guilty. We all do it. I'm not saying for a minute I don't do it, but if we try to be as dispassionate as possible about things, are they as so much better than everyone else? The answer, I believe, truly is no. Are they very, very good? Yes. Are they exponentially better than everyone else? No. Depends what you value, depends the metric you use. If it's value retention, you could probably argue they're significantly better than others.
Yeah,
but who derives why that happened? It wasn't the brand, it was us.
Right.
Yeah. So James Bond saying that Kieran, who's come on the live stream quite a few times, is releasing a watch tomorrow, so that's awesome.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have we got a picture?
Do you know what? I've been trying to find. Actually, have you got? All I can find. Actually, I think this is James Bond's actual post. So it might be that it's not a. Let me just show it up here. Oh, sorry. I don't think there's actually. I don't think it is. I think it's just a holding page, if I'm not mistaken. So. Yeah.
I think, am I right in saying Manchester Watch? Oh, did they start? That was a Kickstarter brand going back 7, 8, 10 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, Dave Sargent was doing one, wasn't he? That was a Manchester Watch.
Is the brand like a little kind of almost diamond-shaped MW kind of geometric shape? For some bizarre reason, it's floating in my head that I have a watch hidden in a box somewhere that was a Kickstarter purchase from Manchester Watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Let me just see if if anybody's got I'll put it in the chat after.
Try a Google for Manchester Watch Kickstarter, see if anything comes up.
Yeah. That looks like a Dent & Co. Big Ben watch.
That looks absolutely gloriously horrific. Which I kind of like at the same time.
That's not it. The Manchester Watch Works.
Yeah, that's the logo. There we go.
Oh, I remember that actually, Manchester Watch Works, but that's from age in 2019. I wonder whether they actually.
Yeah. Don't know whether it's the same company or related, but I do remember getting a couple in Kickstarter. That's the one I have. Something like that. That rings a bell. That kind of one that almost looked like one of the kind of A series from Zenith-ish.
Yeah, I wonder if we can actually get. I wonder if they're still actually going. I think I do remember this actually, but
just when I heard that, it rang a bell.
Mechanical watches.
There we go.
Oh no, it doesn't. I don't think it. Perhaps it's not. Perhaps they're not launching it. Oh, watches for sale. Well, I currently don't have any watches.
Yeah, that's that logo. It's kind of like an M and the inverted W almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Cool. I hate autocorrect.
Maybe it's released tomorrow. So maybe it is just a teaser, and it's like we're going to get it. We're going to show it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Eric.
Something to look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I'm sure it'd be cool.
There's always something cool releasing. That's the fun thing about watches. You're never quite sure what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've got any. Well, I did that. I mean, that Aviate that I reviewed. Did you see that Aviate Field watch? That was totally left of center from them. It was awesome.
Yeah. We talked. I think it was last week we talked about that in the podcast, and I think I was like, it's the last watch. Like if Hamilton had released it, I would have gone, sure. Not what I expected from Aviate at all. Cool looking little watch.
Yeah, I managed to review it, and it came in like a little ration tin, which I thought was really good. You could, I joked in the review that you can imagine like the worn and wound design team, like the Aviate guys were like, "Can we do this?" And they're like, "No." "Can we do this?" "No." "Can we do that?" "No, you can't. Just keep it simple." So they did it absolutely. I think it's coming out on the December the 16th or something for $350 for a Miyota 9015 in there as well, and the date. I mean, awesome! Like real cool, 100 meters water resistance, 2 straps, and that really cool ration tin. Hopefully that's maybe Aviate will do a whole line of those because they've, the Dartmouth brand's got the economies of scale for building out a quality watch. Same with Spinnaker. I mean, the quality of them is like spot on for affordable prices. I think Aviate could really maybe take over, from Hamilton with some of these field watches and stuff. Although they haven't got those, but,
agree.
Cool. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for all of the comments in the comment section, and big thanks to the panel. And we'll see you all next week on Casual Watch Talk. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Take care.